Good evening and welcome to the rest of the news. Our special guest today is retired state representative Ed Holloway. Ed, we appreciate you being here. There's a lot of popping going on here in Washington and Louisville and Frankfurt. And
it's a very interesting development. It looks like 2016 is going to be one tremendous year in a lot of different areas simultaneously. So we'll wait and see what happens.
Well, I thought maybe we could just review some of this from Town Hall by Thomas Sowell for 2015.
Let's look back and see what
happened, if we can. He says that if 2015 had been a turning point, he says it has been a turning point. And he says the worst part was when we allowed Iran to have the atomic bomb. The other thing is, he says 2015 is the year of the big lie.
Exactly.
Can you imagine that?
Well, this is what's been going on for a long period of time, and one of the things that have kept us in the dark, really, about that is because from everything from Washington to the media and others have been icing over the real truth.
Yeah. Like you were saying, the lies separate us from reality.
Exactly.
He says they've always been lies, but they're getting worse, he says.
Right. And reality doesn't disappear at all because we didn't see it, but it'll hit us like a ton of bricks.
Right. And he says this is the year when we learned from Hillary Clinton's own emails after 3 long years of stalling, stonewalling, and evasion that Secretary of State Clinton lied, and so did President Obama and others under him when they told us in 2012 that the terrorist attacks in Benghazi that killed the American ambassador and 3 other Americans was not a terrorist attack, but a protest against a movie.
Just reaction to a video that nobody had ever seen, including the Muslims.
Right. Let's see. First of all, he says, well, they had to lie about it because otherwise people would find out that Al-Qaeda was alive and well.
Well, at the same time, it was all geared to make sure that it didn't have an impact on the 2012 election.
Right. And then anything else in here that you...
It goes into a lot of other things, but Thomas Sowell is a tremendous individual and a tremendous economist and others, and he looks at this thing through an open book of reality. And that's where we have missed out because all of our education in America has been avoiding the real history. And when you look at all the way back to Thomas Jefferson, his presidency, and what was going on with Islam during that time frame, and the capturing of American vessels, the enslavement of the sailors of America and all that, and the Marine Corps hymn includes a line for the shores of Tripoli, which was our defeat of the Barbary pirates, which were Muslims, very much in the same order that's going on today.
Right now. Well, then here's the other thing he says that struck me. If there's anything that is bipartisan in Washington, it is the lying.
Exactly.
Imagine that. The most recent budget deals showed that Congress Republicans lied wholesale when they said that they would defund Obamacare and Planned Parenthood.
And all the rest of the other... This is the thing that they've been doing in Washington. You take an omnibus bill, and Senator Sessions has said it very, very well. His research and of the things that were buried in that bill.
Yeah.
And this has been a smokescreen that they've used time and again for the last 30 or 40 years. And in that situation, you've got a massive problem that they've created that was also included in that bill, 170,000 new immigrants from the Middle East that will be given green cards and all of the other benefits that come with that.
See, now that is really a bad deal, because what that means is the Americans who are working are going to be kicked out of their jobs and replaced by low pay immigrants.
Exactly.
And big business is going to become real wealthy on that. And our people are going to be kicked out.
And all of our tax money is going for those programs. And they have they furnish them with with housing, with medical care. A hospital in California, 70% of its patients are illegal immigrants. Most of them there to give birth to children that will automatically become American citizens. So these things have been growing, and it's just unbelievable, because the media and everybody else, because of political correctness and all the other things, they can't say anything about this, you can't say anything about that.
Yeah.
The fact that our southern border, it doesn't exist.
Yeah.
That they reported at the government level that in 2015, the increase in illegal immigrant minorities, the children that were coming in, have increased 101% over the previous year. And the white American is becoming a minority in his own country.
You know, I remember one thing he was talking about. He said, he says, these immigrants, they get a refund from Social Security, even though they never paid any taxes.
Because of the green card, they file an income tax, and they have paid no taxes at all. But this is another program that was installed where they get a cash refund, a check from the federal government.
From you and me.
From you and me, exactly. And we all think about the federal government or politicians that bring home the bacon. It's not their bacon. It's their.
It's our bacon.
It's our bacon is being fried. We've got a serious problem going on with that right here in Jefferson County. We've got thousands and thousands of immigrants coming in here. Real law and other things are being imposed. There was a case in New Jersey in 2010 where a woman was being repeatedly raped and beaten by her husband, and she wanted a restraining order. And the restraining order said that she asked for, the court then ruled that because this man thought it was his religious right to conduct himself in such a manner under Sharia law, that they threw out the case and she was not granted
the protection.
Yeah.
Well, can you imagine somebody saying, I'm going to get a tax refund when they never paid taxes?
Exactly. And these are just some of the ingredients that are going into these omnibus bills, and all of the Planned Parenthood and the rest of it, and the Obamacare. And the 2016 will create an additional level and another taxes and other ingredients in the Obamacare that we were not aware of until now.
And like you say, that whatever it was, 150,000, 170,000 Muslims that they're bringing in, they're not being vetted.
No, and there's no way to do it because the country, and they have been able to capture all of the equipment necessary to make passports. All of those
false passports.
Well, they're not false. They're actually the actual blanks that they captured and the printing equipment and everything else, so they can create real passports that are not counterfeit at all, but they've stolen the equipment and they now have possession of it, so they can do anything they want to with it.
170,000 more Muslims.
Right.
That many of which are terrorists.
Exactly.
And of course, we all know that Bowling Green had 2 terrorists.
Right, and they're already here
a couple of years ago.
And the federal government, the FBI, and others say they're in all 50 states.
See, the thing that bothers me most about Senator Sessions' speech, which, by the way, is on YouTube. It's under Sessions, Sessions, Omnibus, explains why voters are in open rebellion. Well, anyway, it's 9 minutes long. It's on YouTube. All I have to put in is Sessions and Omnibus bill, and you can pull it right up, and we'll try to show them a few excerpts from it. But the thing is, the Republicans were supposed to be protecting us against this kind of foolishness. But they're not.
No, they use this smokescreen that, well, if we don't pass the omnibus bill, then government will shut down and we'll all have a creation.
Well, that's always been a problem. But in other words, that's what they're up there for. If they don't want to control the purse strings for the country, then they should go home and resign.
And this is what Jeff Sessions, the senator from Alabama, was saying.
Yeah.
That all of these things were buried in there. Everything that they have politically said they were opposed to, that they were atrocious entities that they now have incorporated into that bill and passed it without any question. One of the things that we have to constantly keep in mind is the Muslims themselves and what they've said. And CARE, which is the Council of American Islamic Relations, have a professor at the University of Kentucky. And he is on the board of the Council of the CARE National Board.
Yeah.
And but he's a member of the Islamic Society of North America and several other organizations that are all part of the International Institute of Islamic Thought, and honor him as one of the Friends of Islam. And he recently was recorded saying that ultimately that we Muslims can never be full citizens of this country because there is no way we can fully commit to the institutions and ideology of this country. So they make
freedom.
They make every bit of those things that they stand for cannot be accepted into the American system without giving those up, and they refuse to do that.
So, in other words, they're not coming into America to be an American. They're coming in to take us over.
Exactly. And ultimately to create a caliphate and a one world order.
Put Sharia law instead of our Constitution.
Exactly. And they've already, a good example is to look at Great Britain.
Yeah. Oh, please.
Right now, there are 100 no-go zones in Great Britain.
100 of them.
100 of them. That's where the law enforcement and others are not even allowed to get into these Muslim areas. And they're operating, and there's several of the jurisdictions that are under Sharia law. The courts have all disbanded the traditional English law, and it just continues to go on. But this is something that's not new. It goes all the way back. And this is the problem we have when we stopped studying history. And we go back over 300 years when the Islamic invasion of Europe.
Right.
And all of the other things that happened, they almost conquered it all. And there was a Pope, Urban II, that created the first crusade. The crusade was not to change, but was to push them back and to keep them from destroying
to save Europe, so
all
it doesn't
of Europe.
Get massacred. Well, the thing that bothered me about Senator Sessions' presentation is pointed out that, the problem in America today is not that we don't have enough welfare or we don't have enough low-paid workers. The problem is we don't have enough jobs for everybody. So they're bringing in all these low-paid workers by the thousands and kicking the Americans out of their jobs because they're undercutting them.
All of these things cannot operate without massive amounts of money.
Yeah.
And the money they've been coming is taking it out of business.
Yeah.
The taxes and all the other things which makes the companies and the businesses non-competitive. And that means that they can no longer... You have two options if you're in business. Either make a profit or go out of business.
Right.
It's
That's right.
as simple as that. And what's happening is they can no longer make a profit. So they're cutting back. And then when you place a law like Obamacare on them, which makes their cost of operating with an individual, with the people that they work with and their employees, it makes it prohibitive for them to continue. Either they have to cut back, get rid of a number of employees, or, again, go out of business.